Welcome to my nightmare. Are you going to be kind to me?
Oh, yes. Don't sleep tonight. Oh, I'm ready to get the next victim. We are now at a New Jersey HorrorCon. Get your COVID shots.
Get your COVID shot, and then Freddy will slice you up. Thanks a lot. I'm at the New Jersey Horror Convention in Atlantic City at the Showboat. We're going to meet people from our past, present, and all the Scream Fests you can devour. For some reason, I do feel afraid. Should I?
Oh, very much so. Feel afraid, child. You're in my house.
Father Evil, what are your powers? What are you going to do?
I am the purveyor of sin. I give you the sin you want the most, and I let you indulge. Then once you've had your fill, I come and collect. That would be you.
Pay the piper. How can they see more of Father Evil? Where are you at?
I am all over social media. FatherEvil.com, Father Evil on Facebook, same thing on Twitter, and same thing on Instagram and on TikTok.
Can you bless me in sin? Thank you. I think I need a new brain. I screwed up your name. I need a brain transplant. Patty Mullen. I watched your movie. I love it. Question. I'm not sexist. I'm not misogynist. Why do I have to be so PC? No, you were sexy and hot and creative and cool. How did you approach the role of Frankehooker?
I just took directions from Frank Henenlotter. He's a genius at this. And it just took on a life of its own.
You think you become the character after a while? I mean, you could just snap into it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very easily. Absolutely.
It keeps on giving. You're here at the New Jersey HorrorCon in Atlantic City. What do you want to say to your fans? Your appreciation about,
It's great. It's amazing that after all this time, it's still being watched and still making people laugh. Makes me feel good. A lot of art has been inspired by this.
Oh, really? Well, like what?
Oh, you name it. I have people coming up with paintings and plaques and dolls and different things that they've made, earrings, and, it's just amazing.
So besides enjoying it, creativity's enhanced, and it keeps it giving it a second and third and fourth life. What are you doing now, though? What do fans want to know about what you're doing now?
Well, pretty much like everybody else in the world, laying low, kind of put everything on hold, So just starting over like everybody else, coming out slow and hoping for the best. It's so good to see faces, man. I smile at everybody I see, and I don't know.
Well, she came back to life, and she's back to life again.
Hey, there you go. Bingo.
Thank you very much. Adam Bierman, Princeton TV, Princetonia now, and Breezing with Bierman, the podcast, Atlantic City. Are you fans, fanatics? Are you evil? What should I say?
A little bit of everything. Mostly evil. Mostly evil.
Ow! Anyway, what's your name?
My name's Jack.
Where are you from?
Well, I'm from Sewell, New Jersey.
Your name?
Marissa.
You're from?
Mulligan Hill.
And?
Bridget.
Are you officially out of your parents' will for being... I'm just joking. No. Well, no.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with horror film. It's part of the American consciousness. What do you like best? Favorite movies?
My first horror movie, Friday the 13th. Got a good classic. Yeah.
Nightmare on Elm Street. I like Terrifier.
When you meet some of these stars, how do you feel?
I don't know what to say. You have no idea. Never thought this was gonna happen. It's something you've always think about, but you never think it could actually happen to you. We just met Alex Vincent. And they signed Chucky. They signed Tiffany. It was amazing.
Hi. Yeah, I got Alex Vincent to sign my Tiffany doll.
So who else do you want to see today? What else is going to happen? Any spells, any magic, any paranormal experiences?
Definitely. Yeah.
A little bit of everything. You never know. It's HorrorCon. Anything can happen.
Can we have a meeting between the Chucky dolls, see what happens? Heartwarming. Thank you very much. Hi, with Kim Myers, Nightmare on Elm Street 2. All respects to my wife. I've had a crush on you for a long... I don't know. I saw you on a Tuesday night. I got in for $1. It was great, and it was funny. Those movies were so much fun. What does it mean to you now, being part of this should I say, part of our DNA.
Yeah, it's well. I mean, it always surprises me. It's a little bit surreal, but I think it brings all of us that have a connection to these films. It brings us back to the time that we made the films and how what's the word? How I think for many of us, the films launched our careers, launched friendships, lifelong friendships, and one I have with Mark, and just bring us back to the experience of making the film. So it's.
What was the set like, though? Was it fun? Was it family? Was it distant?
It was not distant. It was fun and it was family. I think those are really good descriptions. And it was serious. It was very professional. It was respectful. I had a really fantastic time with all the actors. Mark and I, have remained very close friends. Robert Englund was amazing. I would say he had kind of a mentor like relationship with me. I think with a lot of the other actors, I think I've heard them describe that. It was my first film.
How old were you?
I was 19. I just graduated. Well, I had graduated high school the year before. I just finished my first year of college, and had never made a professional film. Got my SAG card through that, and Robert was really wonderful, as was Mark. Just
how do you approach a role like that? You're only 19. It's really hard to be terrified. Were you actually ever terrified, screaming? You're really realistic, though.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, Robert was pretty terrifying. He was very nice, and that was a funny contrast because when he wasn't in character, even with all his makeup on, when he was not in character, he was just very kind, very professional, very, very generous and supportive. But when he was Freddy, he was terrifying. And it's the work you do. It's the preparation you do. It's understanding the story and the stakes. And, yeah.
No, because it's a fantasy world that we all got sucked into. And that's what I like. It is that mystery fantasy world. You don't know what's going to happen, and you have this unseen power that can have a hold of us. Maybe I'm getting too deep. But it is like a nightmare.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think the franchise, I mean, I think the first film obviously in particular, because it was original, it really captivated and just kind of shifted the world of horror films in a way. I mean, it clearly...
I agree. The way film, and it was not done with a big budget. Robert Englund, did he help direct that, or he just drove the character, drove the mentor, drove the story?
I was not aware of Robert doing any directing from my perspective. No, he was Freddy. He was.
What about the present? Where are you today? Why are you here? What's happening? Are you enjoying this?
Yes, it's fantastic. I mean, I am not entirely new to the convention scene now. I don't do many, but this one in particular is wonderful. The organizers are so kind, and the fans are just. They're wonderful. They're kind, and they're clearly so taken with this franchise and with the horror genre in general. But it is surreal. It really is. Is when as an actor you shoot a film, it's done. You move on to the next, hopefully, and then and this one I think in particular because it was so long ago that we made the film. When I was invited to do the first conventions several years ago, I had no idea they existed, and I was absolutely shocked. I'm still, just overwhelmed that the fans are still connected to it, and generations of
new fans. There are new fans. What I like about this, I'm going to be fandom now, is with all the explosions and the computer generated. I've known people who are now 18. They see this film and they go. The funny thing is, have you seen this film before? It's like, have you seen the Beatles before? Yeah, whatever. But here we go. So we have the present. We have the past. Let's celebrate both. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The man I'm talking to, my grandfather knows him, my father knows him, I know him, Barry Bostwick. Now, of course, you have a legacy. The legacy we cannot talk about, and I just forgot the name because I'm nervous talking to you. We throw toast. What's it called?
Well, I get hit by toads.
Brad Majors.
Brad Major.
Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'll throw an unconventional question to you. Maybe you've answered this. You say there's a dark underbelly to that movie. What did you mean?
Very dark underbelly.
What did you mean by that?
The themes are, you know, there's a sadistic part to it. There's obviously murder, mayhem, and S&M. I mean, there's all kinds of dark elements to it that aren't always played up when you see it on stage these days. They clean it up an awful lot, you know, but I think what makes the movie special is that it has flip sides. You know, it's funny, it's over the top, yet it tackles some issues that weren't talked a lot about in 1975 when we made it.
My grandfather, he thought it was so funny. I don't, maybe, but those things went over his head. It went over, as a kid, it goes over my head. You get caught up in the other world of the audience and then the 12 o'clock midnight showing.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's just a big party. I mean, if you go to the theater, you know, it's a big party. If you're doing it at home, you have to create your own party, and it's always much more fun in the theater when there's a shadow cast and the fans are, you know, doing all the interaction stuff. That's really what saved it over the years, is that the different casts around the world have taken it to heart and taken it to, you know, become not the past fandom. You know, I mean, they are obsessed with it, and you know, and
Did that turn you off ever? Or do you still embrace it? I mean,
oh yeah, no, I embrace it. Because you know, it's doing so much good for them. I mean, so many of these kids and adults who do these shadow casts are. They're acting out a lot of their fantasies that they wouldn't normally have a place to do it, and getting over maybe some shyness or some you know, antisocial issues, or
like a form of therapy, improvish therapy in costume.
I think it is, you know, and particularly for these, you know, a lot of these kids are outsiders in a way. You know, they don't have a group, and they have found their group. And that group is important to them, and they carry that group throughout their whole life, even if they don't do the show after 5 or 6 years or something. They still have these people who love them and went through a Friday and Saturday night ritual.
It is outcast. No, I have to ask these questions, though, too. You were FDR. You were George Washington. How did you approach probably the most recognized brand name in the world and play that role in the miniseries George Washington? For those who don't know, there was life before the internet, and he was.
Well, George Washington was, I always say that I got cast as George Washington because I was 6'4", and George Washington was 6'3.5", and I probably just came in on the right day, and I was the tallest one in the office. But I think my general demeanor, there's a calmness to it. To me, I think I study and observe and get the sharing from the people around me. He was a committee guy, you know. He loved to surround himself with other voices, and then he would make his mind up based on a lot of research with other folks. And also it was based on Thomas Flexner's book, The Indispensable Man, which was a brilliant exploration of not only the early Washington, but the later Washington, and he really humanized him for the first time, I think. And I think that was the appeal of the series, is he wasn't just an icon. He wasn't just a guy riding around on a white horse. You know,
Well, you found the human being in him, which I think exposed to people. You keep on forgetting it's actually a human being before the myth.
Yeah, flaws and all. I mean, he was and then the series, you could still find it, I think, maybe on somewhere on eBay, or you can even see bits and pieces of it on YouTube. I think it holds up very well. One of the first long miniseries about a presidential, character, and Patty Duke was brilliant in it. She played Martha.
Yeah, to me, it introduced me to the real person, past the cherry tree and the dollar bill. I talked to a person who used to be president of ABC television, Steve McPherson. But anyway, he's from Princeton, and he said, someone like you is such a rarity that you've survived so long in such a business. And he says it is a tumultuous, unforgiving business. So any advice to anyone that you could have such a career and the longevity? It's like a pro football player. If you make it 3 years, it's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I don't just make good choices. Have good people who work for you, who are able to bring to your doorstep projects that are meaningful, and stay active. I think that's the whole thing. Is that somebody gets into a hit show or a movie, and then they think, oh, wow, this is the beginning of my big career, and they don't realize that it's what you do next. 6 months later, it's the continuity, and you have to. And whether the next show is an indie film or even maybe just a guest shot on something that's a good show on television, you just got to keep your name out there. And the people in power in show business change, as you know, so often, and you constantly have to be reminding them. Now, number one, you haven't put on 200 pounds, and number two, you haven't lost your voice and or your hair, or if you have, this is what you look like now. And if they're looking to cast somebody like that, there's no surprises. You give them what they see on a more normal basis.
That's what my friend said. It's like the economy. They don't want instability. They want to make money, and they want to know that things are not stable.
Yeah, well. And also, I'm not a star like that. I'm what I consider a journeyman actor.
You've had some star moments. You've been a heartthrob too back in the day.
Oh yeah. Well, I consider myself still a heartthrob. But it's just my heart is still throbbing, so I'm still a heartthrob. And it's funny. I mean, if you hang around here today, I just had a conversation with 3 17-year-olds who love me, they love me, and then I'll talk to their grandmother, at 73, and she'll go, she loves me, and so it's about just keeping up with the times and being attractive, not just physically attractive, but doing work that covers all the generations. You do something on Hallmark, you do something in a TV series, you do like you mentioned, FDR, American Badass, a real culty kind of jokey film. That movie was downloaded illegally millions of times in every college around the world. And so the kids know me, some of the kids know me from that.
I was teaching class. They know who you are. They don't know your name, but they know who you are. I want to keep talking. I feel bad. I think people want to take your photo and do things with you. I think someone just walked away. Well, finally, where can they reach you?
I have a website, barrybostwick.com, and I got all kinds of stuff on there, and they can communicate with me on that, and I give announcements where I'm going to be next, and I sell my underwear. I sell my signed underwear. I'm the only actor in the world who can legally, I think, sell their underwear because Brad Majors was always in his underwear.
My aunt wanted me to kiss you, but I'm not going to do that. My great aunt and everything.
Who is it? Is that your grandma?
Great aunt. Great aunt.
What's her name?
Edith. Old name.
Edith. I'm still hot.
Bai Ling. What did I write about you? You're sexy, quirky, creative, and it's sometimes crazy positive. You're everything.
I'm everything, yes.
You've been in The Crow. You've been in Star Wars, The Crow, Entourage, the People's Liberation Army, Trencher and stuff. What are you doing now? Why are you here in Atlantic City, New Jersey HorrorCon?
because I love traveling. I was shooting a movie in New York City. It's very close to here. I always love East Coast. And I think the Comic-Con is great for me to meet my fans. Also, it's a way to see America. A lot of cities without Comic-Con, I've never been there. So also connect to my fans and enjoy life.
What kind of reaction do your fans give you? Like love, adulteration? Are they shy? They want to know about certain movies?
I actually, my fans love me from different, because I do different genre of movie, comedy, sci-fi, drama, action. So from different fans like different things. And they're just so appreciative. Some of them yesterday and today, they say just driving here to see me, which makes me feel so good.
I mean, a whole new generation knew you from Entourage. And I know and stuff, and they know who you are. You made a big impression on them and everything. What about your you've been quite open about your sexuality. Has that helped, hurt, or you really don't care?
I don't care. That's just me, just how I am. I'm very sensual in nature. So I like to be sexy because it's part of my nature. I think as a woman, you should embrace that. Because I was the first woman actually from Asia to be on the cover of Playboy magazine in US, Germany, and Russia, and Japan. So I'm proud of it because now it's in a legacy.
My brother actually sold that on eBay for quite an amount of money. Yeah, you have fans all over the place. Anything. So anything else we want to know about you, what's going on with you? Because you're always reinventing yourself.
Yes, good question, because I just reinvent myself. I made myself a director debut director. I made a film called My Quarantine Romance with toilet paper. Join is COVID. It's a feature film. I direct, finance, producer, writing, star in it. I did everything.
Where can we see it?
Not yet. I'm in the post-production. You will see it because it's going to go viral because the comedy is about love, relationship, sex, so funny. About toilet paper, exchange toilet paper. So funny.
This has been the great Bai Ling. Can I kiss your hand? My wife, don't worry.
Oh, sweet.
Thank you.
So follow me and I am Bai Ling Instagram or official Bai Ling Facebook.
I'm so remiss. Again, say that again.
Follow me and I am Bai Ling Instagram and official Bai Ling in Facebook, also real Bai Ling in Twitter. I gave you because I gave fat-free, sugar-free cookies. You'll like it.
JJ French of Twisted Sister, the soundtrack for a lot of people's lives. You're a motivational speaker. You're on the intellectual property for. What are you doing here at New Jersey HorrorCon?
You know, this is the first kind of post-COVID event. We used to do a lot of these prior to COVID, and they'd be packed. And then COVID just wiped everything out. So we were asked if we would participate. And we're just trying to encourage people to get back out again and to start living again. And so we decided to come and do this and meet some of the fans right now and kind of like get America back to business about being kind of normal.
I agree with you. We got a new normal, mitigate COVID and go on.
Well, you know, be safe. I mean, I'm from New York City. I lost 6 people in the first 2 months. And thousands were decimated. New York City was decimated by it. We're in Atlantic City. It's not that far. Jersey was hit very heavily as well. But our look, Twisted Sister is responsible for 2 of the most famous songs in the history of rock. I Want to Rock and, of course, We're Not Going to Take It, which became really a song that it just expressed frustration of people who are disenfranchised. And it applies to many, many different things and many different subjects. Right now they're singing it. The Ukrainians are singing it right now, which, is a humbling experience for us because everybody wants to help out in any way that they possibly can. But this is just a way to reconnect with the fans again and show our appreciation for how much they've supported us. Next year will be our 50th anniversary, which is crazy. In fact, just to say those words, I need to take ibuprofen. Okay.
Thank you, JJ French. I couldn't have said it any better.
Okay, thank you guys. Bye-bye.
I'm Adam, Princeton TV with Adam and the Metal Hawks. TikTok, hey, this is the cutting edge. They're on TikTok. I'm not. So who are you? Who wants to speak first? Who are you? What do you do? And why do your fans love you? Take the mic.
Hey, so we're Adam and the Metal Hawks. We're a new rock band coming out of Long Island, New York. We have our first album out right here, but we are coming out with our second album this year. Look for it this summer. We're touring Canada. We're touring Europe, Switzerland, Sweden, Malta. We're having it all, and we're coming along for the ride. We want you guys to be there.
What kind of music do you play, and why do your fans love you, or why do they want to sleep with you?
I mean, I don't know how many of our fans want to sleep with us, but I guess we're available. But we play like mostly like hard rock music. Like if you're into like Van Halen, Aerosmith, we're kind of like along those lines. It's hard rock, but not really metal. But you know, you get kind of the gist of it. And we play it because we like it, and that's all there is. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, whatever.
I think we need hard rock. Some of the music I listen is la-di-da. It's nursery rhymes. It's fine if you like that. Rock it should be rebellious. It should be rocking. It should be rolling and everything. You seem very quiet. Are you George Harrison? Are you the quiet Beatle? What's your name?
I'm Johnny.
And
My name's Griffin. Drums.
who's the alpha male here? Who does the strategy? who does the vision quest? Who's the creativity?
I mean, yeah, we like to collaborate a lot. You know, we kind of just throw all of our ideas in, have a brainstorm session, and especially for TikToks, a lot of the times we come in, at night after people have work, after people have finished school, whatever, and just come up with ideas for TikToks and stuff that we think will be fun and people will enjoy.
Well, last thing, I think fame's coming here. I feel the charisma, I feel the vibe. What will happen? It's hard to predict. What will you do when the fame bug hits, and what will your life be like? Do you think you'll change a lot?
I mean, I think we would stay mostly the same. Just big production.
I'm gonna blow all my money on a gold mansion and a jacuzzi.
I love this guy.
Well, that's not good, but I'll use most of my share to just push super awesome music videos, big stage shows. Maybe we could get Mark Mendoza to come on stage. I don't know. That might be hard.
Get out of my way. I'm Mark Mendoza from Twisted Sister. This is Adam and the Metal Hawks, one of the hottest new bands around. Okay, Adam and the Metal Hawks. Go online, check them out. Because if you don't, I'll pay you a visit, and it won't be pleasant.
You don't want to visit from Mark Mendoza.
Adam Bierman with Adam and the Metal Hawks, Princeton TV. Hey! Horror fans, we have a poison bonbon you're going to love. You are?
Sandy Johnson.
But your claim to fame that grows and grows and never goes away is what?
I was Michael Myers' sister in the original Halloween, so I was his first kill, Judith Meyers.
You're the cornerstone of, should I say, something that's now imprinted in America's DNA. When you made the film, did you know this was going to happen, life would continue?
I had no idea. It was a short role in the beginning of the film, and I had no idea there would ever be sequels or certainly not a huge franchise.
The movie was somewhat low budget, right? I mean, how did you approach the role? How many takes could you do? Did you have a stunt woman?
It was very low budget. In fact, many of them were John Carpenter's friends, just people helping out, and even the actors and actresses were helping on the set, not just acting. So that was pretty exciting. We shot one day, and we did a lot of practicing because it was a new camera. It was a complicated scene, but we only did 2 takes.
You did in 2 takes. And John Carpenter, what was he like to work with? I mean, it's a name that's ubiquitous now.
John was amazing. He was a great director. He was very clear about what he wanted. Him and Deborah Hill did a nice job of kind of demonstrating how they wanted it to look and feel. So yeah, it was amazing to be able to work with both of them.
So you could never feel scared, though. You were too busy worrying about the technical aspects, the camera, the lights, the mark, and stuff. But the fear you had, because I know that it was real, though. Was it real ever?
It was very scary sitting upstairs in the dark, more or less by myself, knowing that they were coming up the stairs to kill me.
That's a good way to do it. Excuse me.
Yeah, really.
Well, thank you very much.
You're quite welcome. Thank you. Enjoy.
The limbrick part of my brain is lit up. We have someone who's basically in my DNA, because one of the first sitcoms I ever saw was The Munsters. I'm sure you've gotten this a lot.
But I always love hearing it again.
And he once said, I did some research, you might not know Butch Patrick, but you know Eddie Munster.
That's for sure. I got the best of both worlds. I can walk through an airport without being recognized, but if people ask, what did you ever do? They all know the Munsters.
Why do you think that is? Why are you in I know there's only 3 channels back then and everything else, but why?
Well, because it was a unique show, definitely one, but mainly it had very good production values. It was a family-friendly, wonderful, good, it had good family values, very entertaining, and it was from the 60s, which was the premier decade for comedies.
You did say, I did some research, in the 50s it was almost like it was just radio on TV, the dialogue and everything. Sitcoms were more invented in the middle 60s. You were on My Favorite Martian, among other shows, which you didn't even plan to be. What the mother of my three sons, she was an agent or something, and then she got you on, you wanted to be a drag strip racer or something.
Yeah. Mary Grady was my first and only agent, and her son was Robbie on My Three Sons, and that's probably why I did 9 My Three Sons. But she was a great agent, and I was just a kid that had a knack for acting that wanted to be a dragster, yeah.
They had to make you more sinister at first, right? You weren't as much as Eddie Munster.
Well, actually, they had the first one was more sinister, Happy Durman, and then they decided he was too much that way, and they wanted to have a regular kid who just happened to be Eddie Munster, and the look was different, but the personality was a normal little boy.
Got you. Now, my friends, we have to ask about everyone. For one, Fred Grain. A friend of mine was on a skiing with him. He happened to be on the same ski slope. He's a very Yale, very aristocratic. Was that true?
Yeah, Fred and Al were a great comedy team. Fred was very Harvard, blue blood, very, very well educated. Al was very carnival, vaudeville type of guy, but together they did a wonderful comedy team from Car 54 before the Munsters. Fred was a wonderful guy, very talented, super talented. They all were talented, but especially Fred.
Right. Stage trained and everything. How long did that makeup take to put on for Fred, though, in the hot lights?
He had a pretty tough time. He was 2 hours a day plus that heavy foam rubber suit. But luckily, we were only in makeup 3 days a week.
Al was like the king of Greenwich Village. And he had he's a Gotti-backed restaurant. John Gotti, Al Lewis, same sentence. He knew everyone?
Yeah, he did. He was Mr. New York. He had radio shows. He had comedy clubs. He had his restaurant. He was on Howard Stern constantly. And, he was Al Lewis, Grandpa Munz. He ran for an office, governor and senator, as Grandpa Al Lewis.
Yvonne DiCarlo, I didn't realize that she was a beauty, and she was an iconic actress back in the 30s and 40s. You mentioned Shelley Winters and her had a twist with Earl Flynn, Clark Gable, but she needed this money because her husband, with her stunt producer, had hurt himself.
Yeah, he had a horrible accident, and the insurance, the stuntman's insurance didn't cover his medical bills, so literally it depleted their savings, and she took the role of Lily Munster as a breadwinner.
But she was great in it. She had comic wouldn't you say she was I think she had comic timing. She was fabulous.
She was our secret weapon. A lot of people thought she could not do. She had name recognition and she was beautiful, but people thought that she wouldn't be a good comedian, and she turned out to be not only the wonderful matriarch of the family, but a great comedian.
And Pat Priest, who took over after 8 roles, I think, we still say in our family house, oh, that's Marilyn, oh, that's the unattractive one. I mean, what was she like, and did you have a crush on her? I thought she was hot as a kid.
I had a huge crush on Beverly Owen, and yes, Beverly did the first 13 episodes actually, but it was the thing with the unfortunate one. We'll be politically correct. We used to call Marilyn the unfortunate one in the family, and she was so drop dead gorgeous that it was a very comedy oriented situation of us, her looking at us at face value and not thinking of us as monsters, and vice versa, and us looking at her as unfortunate.
What about the present? We should focus on the present, I guess. What do you do now? Do you still sing, rock?
I'm not too much into music. I was like the original Munster Manili. I had records and stuff, but I never was really a true entertainer at that level. But I'm going to be working with Indiana Beach this year. It's a theme park in Indiana, 96 years old. We're doing a retro nostalgia look to it, and I'm going to be handling all their special park activities. And I tour around with a Dragula and a Munster coach and an Eddie Munster Harley, so I'm still doing the car thing.
Last question, and before I have to hug you. My childhood. Okay, sorry.
No problem.
Paranormal experience. Ever have one?
Oh, absolutely. I owned my grandmother's house was haunted, and I recently purchased it, fixed it up, resold it. But yes, personally, no, they have not come up and tapped me on the shoulder, or I've never seen one. But I have cameras in the house, and I have a lot of visual documentation.
You've been great. I could talk forever. Thank you for taking the time.
You're welcome. Take care.